Pro football is like nuclear warfare. There are no winners, only survivors. Frank Gifford said that. The purpose of the speech is to inform all of you about the ever-changing landscape of concussions in the NFL and what CTE is and how it could be affecting people you may know. Now, concussions have affected all of our lives in some way or the other. We might see it whenever we're watching sports, or we might see it whenever or we might have gotten one ourselves, or we might know someone who's gotten one, like me. These concussions have changed the atmosphere of all of our pro sports, like the NFL, like the MLB, like the NHL, and like the NBA. It's caused the NFL in particular to change many of its rules, and even after years and years of denying it was actually a problem in their league. But people know a lot about concussions, but I don't think many people know about the after effects of concussions, which is actually called CTE. So my life has been intertwined with concussions ever since 7th grade. I've had 5 since then, and they caused me to feel some of the effects of CTE. But I've also spent the last 2 years studying former NFL players like Wes Welker and some MLB players like Justin Morneau, and how concussions have affected their lives. Now, we will be getting into 3 points in this speech. First, we will talk about what CTE is and all that stuff. And we'll talk about what the NFL, what their judgment on concussions are. And then third, we're also going to be talking about maybe what a possible cure for CTE is. So first up, let's ask an important question. What is CTE? Well, CTE stands for chronic traumatic encephalopathy. You can form CTE by receiving multiple blows to the head, and as those are better known as concussions, of course. As you guys can see on the board right here, that's the normal brain, and this is what happens whenever it's advanced CTE after many, many years of brain damage and stuff like that, and the CTE forming and destroying your body. All CTE does is just breaks down your brain matter, and it just slowly deteriorates your brain. According to Science Direct, there's some side effects, but here are some of them, but they're not limited to. You can have memory loss from that, which I have a lot. You can have some mood swings. You can have some confusion, some progressive dementia, and every now and then you could feel suicidal thoughts, just like Junior Seau did back in, I think it was 2012. He was a former NFL player, and he ended up killing himself, and they say a large reason to that was because he had very, very advanced CTE, and he just couldn't handle anymore. Now, the brain is as fragile as glass. Like, it can be changed very quickly, and it can be damaged very easily, especially whenever you're playing sports. Now, speaking of sports, let's get into the NFL. What has the NFL actually done to, let's say, solve their concussion problem in their league? Well, according to research starters, the NFL, they implemented the concussion policy in 2007 and updated it in 2009. Now, the NFL has been around since the 1920s. It took them almost around 100 years to realize that, maybe concussions are a problem. But that being said, they tried to do something. Now, also according to research starters, in the first 10 weeks of the 2015-2016 season, the NFL had 97 players who were injured with a brain injury or a concussion or something similar to that. Now, that's out of 1,700 players in the whole league. Now, that's 6% of players. That's a solid amount of players in only 10 weeks of a 16-week season with a 4-week playoff. Now, with that being said, once you get one concussion, you're more likely to build on and keep getting more and more because your brain is softer and it can't take as much anymore. And let's look at Wes Welker, for example. So, I know it's not Wes Welker, it's a good photo. But so, Wes Welker, according to ESPN, He got 6 media documented concussions in his career. He had 3 within a 9-month span in 2013 whenever he signed with the Broncos. Now, people have told him to retire and he doesn't want to do it, but he can't find a job anymore in the NFL because no one wants to pay a man to sit on the bench and just be injured the whole time. There's no reason for them to do that, so he's still a free agent. But what do people like me, Wes Welker, Justin Morneau, do whenever we've received as many concussions as we have? Well, the answer isn't that simple. There's no known cure for CTE, or not yet at least, but there are people looking for it, like a Dr. Bennett. According to the Pittsburgh Tribune Review, this doctor, he's the guy who turned football on its head back in the day and caused them to actually go into some concussion reformation, and he has vowed to try and help find a cure. And many players like him have also vowed to donate their brains after death, like Aaron Hernandez and this guy right here, Junior Seau. And so with my educated guess, I don't think we're going to get a cure in my lifetime, but hopefully our children will get a cure and they'll be able to deal with it. And to sum it all up, today we learned about CTE and how it affects all the people you may know in your life, or some people you may know in your life. We found out about concussions in the NFL and how that's a changing environment. And we also found out what's happening to solve the concussion problem, or to solve the cure for CTE. Now, CTE may be a silent epidemic, but with time, we may find a cure. But until then, let's just enjoy every moment we get. Thank you.